Hello, welcome to Tobisonics. It is Tuesday, the 16th of March, 2021. I hope the weeks have started well for each and every one of you and that you had time to relax over the weekend. In this week's episode, we're going to be taking a look at a brand new plugin from United Plugins, the QuickBass. QuickBass is the ultimate bass polisher and finalizer. That's how United Plugins describe the QuickBass on their website. QuickBass is designed to give you a quick EQ, quick compression, quick saturation, and fatness in no time. It's an all-in-one bass solution. So I want to know, can a single standalone plugin ever really compete with signal chains of collections of different plugins for different productions, different bass lines? Can one plugin ever really do it all? So in order to find out, we're going to take the QuickBass and we're going to put it up against 3 different bass lines from my own productions. And we're going to see if the QuickBass can beat the processing from the original productions. Before we get into it, if you could just take a moment to like the video and subscribe to my channel, that would really help me out. Thank you for taking the time. So here we have the bass guitar from my debut single, All These Things. And what we've got set up right now is the signal chain as it is in the production. Right, let's start by putting all of these plugins into bypass. Don't need them anymore. And I've dropped the QuickBass onto the bass bus. Let's take it out of bypass. And I've called up a preset, Modern Clean. Let's take a look at a couple of things that I've tweaked. I tweaked the amount of sub bass. And then on the compressor option, I reduced the compression a little bit. It is, after all, a bass loop, so it's already had quite a bit of compression. It's not going to need so much. I've backed off the dry wet and the saturation just a touch. Let's have a listen and see how the QuickBass stacks up against a signal chain consisting of all those different plugins. I like the cleanness that the QuickBass is bringing to the bass line. It's very pop tight. I do miss a little bit of the texture that we had with the plugin. I am both surprised and impressed with how well the compression is doing versus a multi-band compression. Next up, we're sticking with the analog bass, but this time it's being run through a sequencer to shape it, and it's the bass line from my new single, Eye of the Storm. And instead of using the signal chain from the production, we're actually going to use the Plugin Alliance Ampeg SVT VR Classic, which I demoed a couple of weeks back. First up, let's take the Ampeg and let's drop it into bypass. I've dropped the QuickBass onto the channel, take it out bypass, and I've called up a preset, Smooth Growls. I've then made 1 or 2 adjustments to the preset. Let's have a quick look at them. Once again, I've had a little bit of a play with the compressor. I've chosen to blend the style of compression away from the opto into the direction of the Vari-Mu. I really like this particular option. It's something that United Plugins do a lot of, where you can blend between different types of compression. Let's have a quick look at what we're doing in the EQ. We've got a couple of standard EQ controls here. We've got the low cut and the high cut, and I've adjusted both of those just to tailor them to this bass line. We have the bass, mids, and highs expressed as percentages. I have mixed feelings about these types of controls. On one hand, they're very intuitive, they're very quick. On the other hand, they don't offer you the precision of a full-on EQ. And then we have the deswamp option that again is expressed in terms of percentage, and you can see we've got it cranked quite high. Let's have a listen and see how the QuickBass stands up against the bass amp emulation. I really like how clean and punchy the deswamp option is working for us on this. The EQ in general is actually surprisingly effective. Again, the compressor impresses. It's an impressing compressor. I will say it has changed the tone of the bass quite a lot. Not the most transparent of plugins. I do like the tone. I probably would keep the original for this particular production, but it's definitely a good tone. It's got something going on. It's got a vibe. It's got something that's cool. It's very usable. So it's going to come down to whether you feel it suits the production that you're working on at the time. Here we go with a bass line from my previous single, Military Industrial Complex. And instead of using an analog bass, we're using an electronic sequencer to see how the QuickBass performs on that. Right now, we've just got the raw processing coming off the production. And as you can see, the QuickBass is in bypass. Let's take the QuickBass out of bypass and have a look at what we've got going on here. I found another preset, 70s rock, man. And I've had a little bit of a tweak just to get what we need from it. So I switched out the broad EQ controls from finger to pick, blended in a little bit more D-swamp, had a bit of a play with the various EQ settings. Let's see how that works out. Once again, the QuickBass is shifting the tone of the instrument. I really like the way it's doing it on this. There's a really quiet kind of growl and menace to it. It's really nasty. I have a feeling that if I had the QuickBass when I was making this production, I think it would have gone on this sequencer because that is dirty. And there is nothing better in this world than a dirty bass line. So where does that leave our question? Is the QuickBass competing with all those different plugins on all those different signal chains? Well, you know what? If you're just starting out, particularly if you're on a tight budget, the QuickBass is a great option. It's very reasonably priced, particularly at the moment when it's on special. It's going to allow you to dial in a host of different bass lines quickly, easily, intuitively. Equally, if you're someone who's doing a lot of mixing, if you're working a lot of deadlines, it's very quick. And as we know, being able to work quickly is a real bonus. If you enjoyed this week's episode, please take a moment to like the video and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for taking the time. All these things, Military Industrial Complex and Eye of the Storm, are all out right now. If you have any questions about the production on any of those tracks, feel free to ask me in the comments below or connect to me via social media at Tobisonics. Thank you all so much for watching, and until next Tuesday, good night and good noise. Stay safe and stay healthy.
Yeah.